Hello again, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another English 10A mini lesson. Today we're going to be focusing on Greek tragedy as opposed to the introduction to drama that we viewed yesterday. This mini lesson is going to give you a little bit more information specific to Antigone and the trilogy of plays that it's a part of. At this point, you should have already viewed the Introduction to Greek Tragedy video, about 6 minutes long. And if you notice, there's a lot of things that are a repeat from yesterday. However, it's the commentary from the experts in this field that I really want you to focus on. This mini lesson is going to be a clarification just about Antigone, and we're going to look at the family tree a little bit so you have an understanding before you get going on what's going to happen. So, spoiler alert, except it shouldn't be really a spoiler for you at this point, knowing what you know about Greek tragedy now. So, when we talk about Antigone, a lot of people see it as one play because it's such a compelling and interesting story. However, it's actually a part of Sophocles' Theban plays in a trilogy. Now, when we use the phrase trilogy, we're using it at the simplest point. It's 3 plays that have a related structure and information. They're not a true trilogy because they're not continuous in narrative. The stories take place many years apart, partly because Sophocles wrote them for different festival competitions, but they have similar relationships and families going on. So we're going to be looking at that. So in order of what they work, Oedipus the king was first. This is the story of Oedipus and his journey to the throne. Then you had Oedipus at Colonus, and then Antigone. However, Antigone was really the first play to be performed as well. It's going to be confusing, folks, and there's a lot of backstory here that you can be aware of if you want. Antigone we're looking at as its own play. We're not worrying about the other ones really. However, under Unit Resources in Unit 3, there is a crash course video about 12 minutes long that'll give you that backstory if you would like that as well. So you can look there if you'd like. So let's focus on Antigone real quick here. Let's look at the family tree first off. As we bring out that family tree, there's tons of family above it, but this is where Antigone really kicks off. So, let's look at the parents really at this point. Menenices had 2 children, Jocasta and Creon. Labdecius had Laius. Creon married Eurydice, and Jocasta married Laius, and they had children. Laius and Jocasta had Oedipus. Creon and Eurydice had Ammon. Now, this is where it gets a little bit interesting, folks. In Oedipus the King, or Oedipus Rex, what happens is Oedipus unknowingly marries his mother. Unknowingly, did not know what happened, and at the end of that play, he ends up harming himself because of that mistake that he did not know. He had been sent away, he had been exiled, and in doing so, did not really know his background as well. Oedipus and Jocasta have 4 children: Eteocles, Polynices, Ismene, and Antigone. Creon and Eurydice have Ammon. Now, as you're going to see in the story, what's going to happen here is Antigone is going to marry Ammon. And by marry, in the physical, the sense of that they're going to be betrothed to one another. 2 family lines. And remember, this all goes back to these stories not adding up. They're not a true trilogy, so they don't know what's going on. Now, I want you to watch what happens real quick here. Remember, in a Greek tragedy, there is going to be a lot of death. Watch what happens. At the end of Antigone, 2 characters are going to remain. Ismene and Creon. And that's where Greek tragedy really gets its name. And there's a reason behind this that you're going to see as you read, and as it relates to that theme of why that happens. 2 characters out of that whole family tree remain at the end of our story. So even though it's not really a spoiler, we can expect a lot of death. That really shocks people because they're used to that main character making it. And in tragedies, that's not always the case. So keep that in the back of your head, that the only 2 characters that are going to come out alive at the end of this piece that you read are Eisman and Creon. And see how that foreshadowing and how it relates to the theme plays an impact as you read. See what things and clues and rationale and reasons you can come up with to make the case why Sophocles wouldn't do that. If you have any questions, folks, please let your instructor know. Make sure you take your Cornell notes and submit them when you are done with the assignment. And have a great rest of the day.